Welcome back to my channel and to my first video of the new year. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. I'm in organizational mode, so I'm excited for this video. I'm going to show you how I create labels with my Cricut to add to these clear pocket sleeves. You might have already put your Christmas decor away, but these are perfect for all of those holiday storage bins. What I love about these is you can change out the labels really easily. So first, I will show you how I made the labels in Cricut Design Space. I am going to be using cardstock to cut out these labels and the Cricut pen to draw on them. What I'm going to do first is grab a square. The pocket sleeves are 4.3 inches by 3 inches. I don't want it to make it the size of the pocket sleeves because I want the cardstock to fit inside of it. So I am going to make it 4.1 inches by 2.8, and then I'll hit enter. I'm using white cardstock, so I am going to change the color to this, and I want to keep it a cut file. I have 8 bins that I'm going to be labeling, so what I'm going to do is copy this so I have 8 of them. So to do that, you can hit Command C and Command V on your keyboard, or you can just come up to the layers panel and select the duplicate button. Okay, I have all my insert cards. They're all the same size because I copied them. Now I want to add my writing. I'll go over to my text, and like I said, I'm using the Cricut pen to write. I am going to go up to my font. I am using a Cricut font. The drawing with the Cricut can be a little tricky, so if you import fonts from like dafont.com or other websites, then a lot of times it'll have a bubble letter, which most of the time you'll want that single line. Cricut has a lot of writing fonts and you can filter those as well. Also, they just recently changed this. They're doing so many updates all the time, but I'm gonna click on this little filter icon. And I already have it selected because I was already playing around in here, but what you'll do is you'll hit the check mark by the writing. Most of Cricut's writing fonts you have to pay for if you want to use it, unless you pay for Cricut Access. So you can see these little green A's. These are all fonts that are covered. And I do have Cricut Access. I use it all the time for images and fonts. It's $9.99 a month, I believe, and I've been using it for several years. For me, it's worth it. For others, it might not be. They do have a 30-day free trial, so if you are wondering if you would use it or not, you could always try that out. I can link the free trial down in the description box if you want to check that out. I found a font earlier and now I'm not finding it, so I am going to search for it. Okay, this is the one that I'm using, so I just selected on it and I'll click out. For the first one, I'm just going to type in what I want my storage bin to be labeled. Now I'm just going to click outside of the box, and you can see these little squares here or rectangles. I'm just going to zoom in. I don't want these big spaces in between the words, so what I'm going to do is go up to my line space and I'm just going to lower that down. Okay, I think that looks good. Now I'm just going to size this inside of my rectangle. I also want to center this, so I am going to drag over my rectangle and my font. You can see in the layers panel that we have both of those selected. Then I am going to go up to align and select center. While I have both of these selected, I am going to come down here and select attach. This step is really important because it will show up like this on the Make It screen, and it'll tell the Cricut to first cut this out and then it'll draw with the pen exactly how it's seen here. For my next one, I'm going to type in Christmas miscellaneous. I have a couple of those. What I like to do for the font size for the rest of them to make them uniform is select the same font size number. So over here, I am going to click on my font in the layers panel. And if you look at font size, it's 50.17. So I am going to make that the same for the rest of them. One thing that you want to do with that is this one has a lot of words. So that is why I'm choosing this font size. And I don't want to choose one that's a little bit smaller, if that makes sense. But I am going to grab this and I am just going to select 50 since it's close enough. To give you a quick example why you want to select the font size for something that's bigger, let's say that I make this fit inside the rectangle and my font size is about 63. If I come over to this one and make this 63, it's going to be way too big and not fit inside of the rectangle. So that is why I am choosing to take this font size. So I'm going to come back over here and I am going to select 50. I am going to highlight over both and I am going to align and center this. And I'm going to make another one, Christmas Miscellaneous. So I'm actually going to use my hotkeys and select Command C, then Command V. I'm going to bring this over here. I want to make sure I attach it and I am just going to delete this one. Now I'm just going to type in my next one. I'm going to write Christmas trees and houses. I'm going to come up to my font size and select 50. Also for this one, if you want to make it uniform, you can see the spacing between here is wider than here since I adjusted that. So I'm going to look at my spacing for this, which is -2. So all I have to do is come down here and I am going to delete the 1 and type in -2. And then it makes it the same. So all these tips are really great for just making it all look uniform. I'll align this. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing for the other ones. I'll type in Christmas ornaments. I am going to change it to 50 for the font size and -2 for my line space. I have everything typed up. Somehow I missed attaching some of these. So I am going to make sure these are all attached. I noticed that a couple weren't attached because I had 2 squares on their own here. So I'm going to click on this one and I'll just highlight over both of these and hit attach. And now I'm going to find the other one, which is this one. So I don't know what was going on with the attaching, but basically you want the font and the corresponding rectangle to be attached. I really like the layers panel because it tells you kind of what's going on with it all. So now you can see that everything is attached. Now I can click on Make It. I'm using my Cricut Maker 3, so this screen might not show up for you, but I will select on a mat. And I'm using 8.5 by 11 cardstock because that's all I have. And the bad thing about that is it puts it on 3 different sheets. So I will just have to save the extra as scrap paper. I'm using 65-pound cardstock, but I like to use the medium cardstock setting. And it's telling me to load my black pen along with my fine point blade. I'm using one of my black Cricut pens. I like to shake it up a little bit just to make sure the ink is down at the bottom, and then I place it in clamp A. I add my cardstock to the mat. I'm using the Recollections brand from Michaels. It is my favorite to use, and I'm using the Nakapa mats. I like to use these because they work just like the Cricut mats, but they are a better price. The Cricut will draw first, then it'll cut out the rectangles. I just love watching the Cricut draw, and I could obviously write it out myself, but it just looks so nice when the Cricut does it. Once it's done, I bend my mat backwards to remove the material. If you are new to the Cricut, this is the best way to remove material because it prevents it from bending. Here I've already loaded this cardstock and the Cricut has drawn on it and cut it out. And here is the last one. I cut out the pieces that were not used out of the cardstock and I filed this away. I use this file system for my vinyl and cardstock scraps, and it is by far the best way I have found to do this. Here's all of my labels, and I love how this looks. I really like the font that I chose for it. Sometimes that is such a hard thing to pick out, but here I am adding these inside the clear envelopes. These fit really well, but next time I might make it just the tiniest bit smaller because it was a little hard to maneuver it inside of the envelope. Here's all of these put together. Now I'm ready to add it to my storage bins. First, I used my spray bottle to add my rubbing alcohol to clean it. These just get so dirty and dusty. Then I add my envelope. I was having troubles making this straight because I was trying to get out of the shot of the camera. I just go through and spray all my bins and add my labels. And what I love about these is that they are interchangeable, so you can just switch out the cards if you end up using these bins for something else. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I would love it if you gave it a thumbs up. I would also love it if you subscribed if you are new to my YouTube channel. It is completely free, and I have so many fun videos planned for 2023. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see on my channel this year. I always love getting ideas from you as well.